Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lightbulb Moments. I'm Trevor Bachofner. I'm the Students and Families Pastor with First Christian. This is my co-host, Jan Hanson, the Kids and Families Director. And we are here to share some cool thoughts, share some of our little lightbulb moments that we have during our weeks of quarantine. It's caused a lot of thinking for us. But before we get into our main topic for today, we thought we should at least have some fun questions, just so you guys can get to know us better, and for us to continue to get to know each other well, because, I mean, we've still only been working together, 10 months?
Almost a year,
10 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone by quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So my question for you is, one film franchise has to go. Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, or Star Wars? I know this is a tough one, so.
Not too hard for me, though, because, and don't be offended, it would have to be Harry Potter. And the only reason is because I did not read any of the books, only saw like half of the first movie. And it wasn't because I didn't want to. It all just kind of came about in a season of my life that I just wasn't doing a lot of reading or extra reading and things like that. So I know less about it. And yeah, so that would be my answer. What about you?
Oh, well, I have the most attachment to Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Star Wars really being the first fantasy genre film or universe that my parents showed my brother and I, and then Lord of the Rings, I just fell in love with the literature growing up as a kid. So it's Harry Potter or Narnia, and I probably will go with Narnia.
Well, for the videos, yes.
For the videos, yes. I love the books much more than Harry Potter books, mostly because they're shorter. But I just think out of those four, the movies weren't done as well. So that's my answer. Narnia's got to go.
Okay. That's all right. We'll let you stay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so here's a question for you. If you could only drive one of these, which would it be? Stick shift or automatic?
That one's the easy one for me.
Yeah.
I drive an automatic now. I have for a few years, but I would, in a heartbeat, go back to driving stick shift. I am a very distracted driver, to be honest with you, so I kind of miss having that extra thing to do with my foot and my hand, to where I don't get distracted by my phone or somebody driving next to me or my wife or whoever. Always am looking elsewhere when I probably should be focusing more on the road. So
thank you for that warning.
That's for me anyway. So.
Oh, for me, that's a real easy one, I think, because I have driven a stick shift this many times in my life. Once. And it was a weird experience. My brother and I were teenagers, and he had a very old model VW Bug. And I don't know if I asked him or he asked me for a driving lesson. And we went out to a half-empty parking lot. And as soon as I got in the car, in the driver's seat, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. There's 3 pedals. I've got 2 feet. Something's wrong here. So we ended up, I'm sure I must have killed the engine, stalled out about a gazillion times, but I finally got to where, with his coaching and his encouragement and telling me over and over, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. I got to where I could do some loops in the parking lot. I was like, oh, this is, okay, I can do this, until he said, okay, drive us home. Like, no, we're not going out in live traffic.
Your first time driving a stick shift, and he says, drive us home.
I'm like, okay. So finally, he convinced me, and I got on the road, and one of us was screaming, and one of us was laughing. I don't remember which was which. Made it home. I'm like, okay, never doing that again.
Oh my gosh.
That was just crazy. And I've never driven a stick. I never had the need to. So no, thank you. Harry Potter and stick shift. Like, I don't know.
It's still very brave of you,
Or
driving
crazy.
home.
Or crazy. One of the two.
There's a fine line there, right?
This is very true. Oh man. And I think that brings me to what we wanted to talk about today, which is a light bulb moment for us when it comes to this season and having no church on campus and all of us at home, and this idea that parents, we have been coaching and encouraging you, and we've been sharing resources and pouring into your kids and students in their small groups on Sundays, mornings, evenings, in all those ways that we've been encouraging them in their faith and growing in their relationship with Jesus. And we don't have that anymore. And now, parents, you are like in the driver's of your kids and students' faith, and you are either driving in circles or you're doing the start, stop kind of thing that, Trevor, you were sharing with me earlier about how your dad helped you with that. Share with us.
Yeah, so Jen and I have very different backgrounds on how we were taught how to drive stick shift. Because for me, it was my dad taking me to a parking lot on the waterfront of the town we lived in and just saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to get in the driver's seat and you're just going to find the sweet spot in the clutch, and you're just going to go forward, and then you're going to put it in a reverse, and then you're going to go backward. And we're just going to do that. And we're going to do that for a while until you figure out where that sweet spot is. And he's like, you're not even going to get close to driving on the road until you have this figured out, and you're better at shifting and finding where that spot is. And I think that's such a word for us, spiritually as well, because my dad understood in teaching me how to drive stick shift is that it's a process to learn how to do it. He can't just throw me into the car and say, all right, sport, jump out into freeway traffic. You got it. I believe in you, son. That's not safe, for one. He'd be a terrible dad if he did that.
It wasn't.
He understood the process and the steps that he needed to take to get me to where I needed to be. And I think that is so evident for our spiritual walk as well, is that it is a process, a lifelong journey that we go on, that even when we get to the end of our life, we still don't have it all figured out, which is really kind of our heart for you all, because we know for many of you, you are in the driver's seat and you are figuring this out for the first time. And maybe you were feeling more like Jan, where she's like, I don't feel equipped to be in the driver's seat right now. I kind of don't know what I'm doing.
There's too many pedals.
Yeah, there's too many pedals. And really putting these conversations out for us is our heart for all of it, is just our heart for whatever we do for families that come to our church. Is we just want to provide you with tools to invest into your family. We've said it almost every Sunday since I've been on staff with First Christian, is we're a family for families. We are here and we are for you. And one of the ways that we're here for you guys is to invest into you and give you practical ways that you can grow spiritually. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, part of that is the whole idea of us partnering with parents. We've been saying that all the time, and we've been pouring the church side of it into you and your kids, and you've been coming, with your parenting influence in your kids and students' lives, and it's a partnership. But now that partnership looks very, very different with us being safe at home these days. And so we recognize that we want to provide some ways that are going to help you, probably in your own faith growth as well, in this season and time, because, God has, I believe, something intentional for each and every one of us during this season. And it's not to just get to the end of it and say, oh, what just happened the past few months or whatever. Nothing's changed. I've slipped back in my growth and my relationship with the Lord, or I've been going around in circles like me in that parking lot and not feeling equipped or having the right information or tools or resources for that.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's such a testament to what we're dealing with these days, is all of us can look back to where we were before all of this shelter in place and quarantine stuff, and we realize just how busy our lives were. I've certainly felt this just as a natural pacing, where before I felt like I had to get everything done and be filling every single hour of my day with something. And this time has actually been incredibly refreshing for me, in just my work life, in my marriage, in my walk with Jesus. It's an amazing thing to not feel like I have to hurry all the time. And we understand that for many of you, you have a lot of time to connect now. Some of you are feeling that you have too much time to connect, and we get that too. But we just wanted you to know that we're here for you during this time. And kind of the other half of our heart of why we're doing this now is that we want to help add value to your family. We understand that there are so many churches, so many organizations that are putting so much content out there right now. They're just content. And for this, we just want to say right now, thank you for filling your time with Jan and I in this conversation that we're having. And we are hoping that through this conversation and the ones that we have in the future, that we can help add value to your family's spiritual walk and to your spiritual growth. So what our conversations are really going to look like over the next 4 to 5 weeks are centered around Deuteronomy 6, verses 6 through 9. And this chapter is right after the second reading of the law, what Moses had originally obtained from God on Mount Sinai. And this whole book is this rededication to the ways of God and what he's asked of his people. So this call that God gives to Israel for a wholehearted commitment to the ways that he's asked them is also this call that we answer as well in our families. The law, the standard that God had placed before them, it's not just a set of rules that we have to follow, boxes we have to check. It's a way of life, and it permeates all of our being. It's something that we also are tasked to pass on to later generations. It's part of why Jan and I do what we do. So I just want to read this for you guys real quick. I have verses 6 through 9 here, and then we'll kind of break them down a little bit to share where we're going with our future conversations. Verse 6, and you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. What is this saying to us, Jan? What are we hearing here?
Well, to me, I think a lot about what you were saying earlier, and just the slowdown, but not really the slowdown of what's going on, in our homes right now. And in the past, there were dedicated parts of our days that we would, you get up in the morning, you get the kids ready for school, you get yourself ready for work or your day, whatever's going on. Parents, maybe one or two or both, go to work. You have that time of your day, then you come home, you have dinner time, you have chores time, you have this time. It's very segmented, very compartmentalized. And what I hear and what we've talked about in these verses is that God's saying time, his time with us, or our time with him, shouldn't be compartmentalized. It should just be part of a daily routine. The things that we're already doing, parents can leverage to infuse faith into those different times a day, because it says when you're at home, when you're on the road, when you're going to bed, and when you're getting up. So it gives 4 regular rhythms in a family's life, in anybody's life, really. If you live home alone, you have you have these things going on. You're always going to be at home. You're going to be on the road at some point. You're going to go to bed, and you're going to get up. And so what we wanted to do is kind of look at those 4 times of every day, and kind of help parents to take different spiritual disciplines, different faith skills, if you will, and apply those to these different times of day, depending on what phase your kids are in. If it's preschool, elementary, middle school, high school, obviously it's going to look a little different. But just kind of infusing faith into those times so that habits, good habits of faith conversation with your kids and students evolves out of this. And it's gonna be like Trevor, it's gonna be going forward and then a few steps back, forward and a few steps back, over and over, to try to get the right pace and the right rhythm and the right conversations, and looking not just for conversation, but meaningful conversation. And so it might be spinning around in the parking lot. It might be, you're going to feel like you're going in circles sometimes, but habits take time. I don't even remember what the saying is now, if it's 21 days it takes to form a habit. I don't remember. But these are daily things. So it's not just like we used to do on Sundays. Come on Sunday to church and we'll give you your infusion to last you through the week. But how can you family and do that every day of the week in some small way? And that's the thing. I don't want parents to start thinking, oh my goodness, they're going to dump this big heavy thing on us. And that's not it at all. And we're going to start small and get you started in that groove. And then once that is comfortable, easier for you, when you're ready, you just add something else. And it'll be a way to kind of keep growing and enhancing your family's relationship with Jesus.
Yeah, this is exciting. I am really looking forward to our conversations in the next few weeks. And we again want to thank you guys for taking some time to just listen to this conversation. And we are preparing, and hope you are tuning in for our future casts. So
yeah, and we've got something extra we're adding too. We're going to do a private closed Facebook group that we want to have conversations throughout the week about what we're sharing, because we want to hear your successes, your questions, your failures, your all those things, your ideas, so that you can share with each other too what's working, what's not working, what you need help in. And so the Facebook group, it's kind of a long name. It's called FCC Napa, Families at First Parent Group. But if you just search in Facebook for FCC Napa, it'll be one of the ones that come up. Also, if you're part of our church family already, we're going to be sending out an invite to all of you. So be watching for that. If for any reason you're not able to be on Facebook, let one of us know by email, and we're going to loop you in some way. So got that going for us too.
Thanks for tuning in. This has been Lightbulb Moments. We will see you guys next week.
Yeah. See ya.